Hello, you can call me Castle. I am the Dungeon Master, and I welcome you back to the Beastlands. Thank you for watching my legacy unfold. I realize that the audio quality in the first several episodes was kind of rough, and we thank you for putting up with us. We are constantly striving to improve your viewing experience. The new sessions will be split into less than half-hour episodes, posted Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard or 7 p.m. Eastern. Also, be sure to check out the Dirk and Dirtle podcast, which is uploaded at their whim once a week. If you enjoy our show and want to help support us, please drop a like, but more importantly, share us with the world. Check out our Call of the Beastlands social media pages. Links in the description.
Yeah.
I feel like the first building, the Emerald Leaf Gem, which was enough to just pay for one building outright, you can do what you want. You know, this is your, like Dirk said earlier, you get the first call and also the last call on most buildings. So if you want the Caravansary, then we can just do that, and then the Emerald Leaf Gem will pay for that. And then from there, we'll have to pay for other buildings with, you know, our gold costs.
Yeah. Well, I have about 2,000 gold value I could throw at it too, but yeah, let's start with the Caravansary, and then we'll move on from there.
Does the place already have basically like defensive walls in the form of the vines that were surrounding the area?
Yes. Yes, it does come with defensive walls.
All right.
Well, pick a spot for the Caravansary, and then we'll choose what the second building's going to be.
Yeah, where do you want the caravannery?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and consider that little staircase to the front, so let's just go ahead and put it to the left of where we came in. So pretty much like bottom left.
Okay. Let me just go ahead and pick a tile that fits it best. Ooh, we'll do this. First, let me go ahead and move everyone back to the first floor. I actually have to do this on all three maps.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Or one.
That's really cool. I like how it just kind of snaps in and fits really well. It's
Where that's cool.
Overlaps over the already existing trees. Yeah, that's really thought out.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say, I
thank
was
you.
not planning. I wasn't expecting more big trees.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is very reminiscent to.
So, please keep in mind that it'll still take 15 days for this to grow, but it is rapidly growing.
It definitely reminds me of the Grove.
Yeah, I was gonna say the.
Yeah, I actually bought an expansion for the same units that I was making the Grove with. This
Does
is
anybody, of course, I wasn't around for that, but does anybody remember the name of the druid that died? See if Hannah knows anything about him.
Oh, I could probably ask her about me.
yes, you could.
It was Ivan, I believe.
Character name.
Ivor. Yeah.
Of the Crystal Grove.
Yeah,
Something like
please
that.
hold on that.
Looks up into the ceiling again. Man.
Listen, I'm sorry. I can only do so many things at once.
The reception between plants must be really slow.
They're still doing dial up.
Do you think we picked a bad area? Maybe we don't have good coverage here?
Can you hear me
You look for
now?
another fortress in the middle of nowhere?
They must not have T-Mobile.
Right.
So this is a 0.5G network.
Do you have an Atrian tree?
How much would it cost for oogle fibers?
Oh, that was a bad time to drink Coke.
Hmm.
Branch out your network. Hey, free. Why not bundle it? We'll get to the root cause of the problem. Please hold.
All right, goddamn you, you fucking degenerates. That's enough puns on my channel.
Super slow, super slow internet connection.
Right, cool. So that's growing. What was up next on the agenda?
Um. So even though the map is green with lush foliage, it is actually a very snowy area, right? Colder climate.
Oh,
The area that is inside the vine walls is temperate and warm.
Oh,
Wow. So no weather at all can touch this.
It is a crisp 73 degrees.
Ooh.
Does it rain here?
Yes.
We're not in Southern California.
We're not completely immune to the elements, but the enchantments that the original owners put on the area are quite potent and protect it from the worst of the winter. And indeed, the most of anything.
How have you guys handled the dragon all these years?
I do not know what you mean.
Hmm.
there's a dragon living in these lands in these mountains.
Oh, I'm afraid I've been locked inside my prison for more years than I know how to count. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Well, this means one or two things. Either the dragon showed up later, or there may be a concealment spell on this place.
Well, we saw it.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess that's
we
true.
did have the deed, though.
That is also true.
If perhaps we didn't have the deed, we could have walked simply past this place and had never known that there was
Well,
such a large hidden here within the mountains.
Bullgrass
Plus,
speaks up and he says, "You guys sure seem smart until you start talking stupid. Didn't the locals know about this place?"
Oh. Well, that answers that.
Right. Suppose the dragon simply has no interest in this place, then.
Very possible.
Although, if he sees it developing, he'll know someone's here.
Mm.
It is true, for all accounts, that this is part of the dragon's normal range. So,
Well,
either
maybe
you're
it'll give
there-
him a message that there's a new kid in town, and we're coming for him.
But what you know about the dragon is that it's not really focused on natural type of magic. Really more focused on the arcane type of magic.
Mm.
So it just may not be interested because it's not its field of interest.
It doesn't care about Fae.
Hmm.
Just keep it,
their
just keep it
happenings.
natural. Keep it natural.
Okay, well,
What are we doing
next-
for the second building?
the next thing we might want to think about is a garden. I don't know if it would be needed. The actual use of the garden is that it contains, you can grow herbs each 7 days that allow for 4 of the following list, and it just lists a lot of potions. Like we got potions of growth, we got filter of love, potion of dim unitation, fire breath, things like that.
You don't currently have an alchemist on board, do you?
We do not.
Mm.
However, I was thinking of garden in the more sense of being able to grow food and be able to supply.
Well, does Henna
Inhabitants.
produce food by herself, or does I mean, is it grown, or does she provide it? I mean,
Yeah,
she's the
every once
keeper
in a
of the
while,
bees.
I can grow a very nice fruit.
Just one fruit.
Mhm.
Every once in a while, yeah, it's a very, very potent fruit.
Can it feed about 14 people?
No, it'll feed one person, but it is quite infused with magic.
Well, do we want an armory or food? Magical food.
Well, we could do the garden, and if we don't have interest in making an alchemist or hiring one, then with the caravansary already in place, we can sell those herbs,
Oh,
you know,
wait.
rare herbs to the merchants. We might get a bad roll here and there, and roll and nobody's interested in those herbs and wouldn't have much to do with it, but
Yeah, you could choose to do that, or we could swap it over to food, like you're saying.
I don't know,
And,
would it be one or the other? Like it's either a garden meant for growing purely food, or could it be a garden that grows food as well as magical herbs used in potion crafting?
well, hold on a second here.
The description says the smell of green growing life fills the air here. Lush vines laden with savory tomatoes grow alongside mandrake root, ephedera, and even more esoteric herbs.
Well, I mean, magical garden, you would assume that you could just change out what type of plant type is grown at that point.
Yeah, hold on a second.
I was going to say, if anything, though, if food is our worry, we could, I mean, train some of the guys to be hunters. So, I mean, when they get outside the walls themselves, I mean, there should be plenty of beast animal folk to hunt.
But
Yeah, I can see.
a garden is
Yeah.
more accessible. If we have
Well,
just a permanent staple of just there's going to be food growing here,
right.
and if backup, if more food is needed, you can go out and hunt. You know,
Well, the herbs would be a good source for potions and things like that.
we
the
could
meat would be
go
a
for a
good
combo
source.
of building the garden and a a
An
alchemist
herbery.
lab
Oh well, yeah.
or a herbalist witch huts.
Well, let's generate some revenue first, and then work on the What about the monastery?
The monastery is a separate building entirely, isn't it?
But it would be
Wouldn't
on
that
the
be a
ground.
temple?
It would be on the ground inside the walls.
No, we're pretty much. I'm pretty much just allowing a bunch of my brothers to move here to get away from the warring there, but they should still be battle ready. So,
Oh, okay. So like a garrison, maybe.
well, we can keep up to 450 men at arms just as part of our fortress. So I didn't figure we needed to build anything for that yet. If we want
Yeah.
to get over, 400 soldiers.
Right.
Yeah, I think the barracks or the garrison or whatever would be more of like we wanted to start building our own town.
Military type ordeal.
Yeah, and we didn't have a castle or a keep that could store soldiers.
Yeah. Well, once we start establishing like the other schools along the road between here and Girdle's Rest, we could do that. But
All right, so let's just touch up on what you guys need. So, under the hirelings and soldiers section, it talks about, you guessed it, hirelings and soldiers. So you got unskilled hirelings, skilled hirelings, and then you have specialized soldiers. The soldiers can fill, I believe, non-skilled. Soldiers stationed within a structure count as required skilled hirelings, but no longer count towards this requirement while dispatched or relocated elsewhere. So you could fill up your required people with either skilled hirelings or guards or whatever you want, really. Depends on how well you want this place manned. The prices vary greatly, but really we're putting the cart before the horse because
Right.
you don't have a
Well, I was
population.
thinking about the greatest source of income to get everything started at this point. I kind of agree with Lesk. If we could have a garden producing herbs, we even if we can't craft potions, we can at least sell the herbs.
Hmm.
Right.
And if we're able to grow just normal food, and as the description said, it grows. You can grow tomatoes alongside those rare herbs, so we could feed ourselves while also potentially making money selling to caravans through the caravansary.
Yeah.
And if we decide later on to actually build the alchemist lab, then we could even sell those rare potions that we make to merchants that come through here. So the reason why somebody would want to come all the way up here to the mountains would be to access herbs that are not normally found in other places in the world.
Another thing to keep in mind too, if this is going to be our main fortress, basically our seat of planning and
Power.
everything else,
Yeah.
the most important buildings that, like, we could build an alchemy lab, say in Dirk's little section. Whatever is most important to the survival of the party and sustaining the income should be located here around the walls, and everything else in the individual little areas as we build them. Because if everybody gets a mile between here and Dirk's Rest, that's 3 miles in between, so the 5 miles will be covered. So every mile you're going to get basically a small little town, or a city eventually. But the most important buildings, I think, should be inside the walls under the protection of everything CDA has here.
Very insightful. So what would you value the most?
I think
Obviously
we
the
should.
caravan thing
I think
is big.
And we already have defensive walls, a caravansary, and a war room are the 3 buildings we currently have, pretty much.
Are there any other income producing structures that would yield more than? I know magic herbs and potions are in high demand. So, I mean,
Well, you know what's
at the
always
bottom?
high in demand in the middle of nowhere?
Escorts.
food.
I was inns, taverns.
Taverns. I think what
You
one
may consider
something
one of your
kegs.
most important income making structures at the start may want to be a tavern.
Mm-hmm.
But a tavern with no food isn't a tavern.
Well, this can be solved by hiring some motherfuckers to go and hunt some food.
Mm-hmm.
The monastery people can do it.
Can we
for a
put
small-
out?
There's
Can we put out a call for like the skilled hirelings to be an alchemist or any of those things? But,
You're gonna need-
We don't have the lab anyway, so we don't need a
Okay,
skilled.
you're
ones yet.
ultimately, once you decide on what you're going to do, you're going to need to make a trip to a place where there's people and recruit them.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is that people like skilled hirelings, they cost 2 gold per day. So that is quite a bit. So we need to make sure that we're making sufficient income, either through sales or through people staying and sleeping, before we
Well,
go and hire too many people.
Well, I was
Well, the
going to
car-
say that we got
Go
the
ahead.
monastery guys coming in, so if they live here for free, I suggest putting them to work, maybe.
So like
Yeah,
live-in
exactly.
workers.
Yeah, the caravansary is going to bring in trade route or traders. And of course, selling the herbs to them would be good, but having a tavern would be even better. But if we don't have the food for the tavern, food is definitely important. You got to have food source. So if it's going to be skilled laborers, fine. If it's going to be a garden, that's fine too. Either way we go, that needs to be addressed. And then if we want to go with a tavern as the second building here with the sapphires, then we could do that, and that would help the caravansary. But
Hmm.
He's right. You're going to need a source of food to feed it. And let's face it, it's the Beastlands. You have carnivores and you have vegetarians. There aren't
Mm.
actually that many omnivores.
why don't we go ahead and do the garden and put out a call for skilled hunters
Well,
to
guys,
help?
There is
how
really
much
quickly
gold do we
before we
have?
continue.
That's
A lot.
probably a really good idea for you guys to figure out is if you pool together all of your
We
coin,
could probably do
exactly
both.
what can you afford.
I think we have enough for about 4 rooms, excluding the caravansary, because that one was free with the leaf gem.
Yeah, I
What-
got two
Well, the
gold here.
tavern's only 2,500. I almost have that alone.
Well, I had 5,500 before you all gave me the other 25. So actually, I've got 70. Wait a minute, 25 and 55. That's 8,000. But what happened to Dirtle's gold?
We dispersed it.
And
Oh,
figure
is
out
that what
the
the
fuck happens.
2,500 was?
We
No.
need
Yeah.
to know how
We
much
haven't-
there was first.
We haven't actually calculated what Dirtle had and what everybody
Oh.
did off of.
Yeah,
Dirtle's.
the thing is, he never wrote it down on his character sheet, and he hasn't told us how much he had.
But
So
guys,
we-
it's
I'm gonna
only
make it-
5,000 for both
I'm going to make a
buildings.
trip to Shady Valley right now. I'm going to burn down Ethan's house. I'm going to do that.
All right.
Well, you do that. We're gonna take a break.
I was gonna ask really quickly before we take a break. Cites, how much gold do you have?
8,000 now.
How much silver?
6.
And I'm assuming 4 copper.
Right.
Dirk,
Yeah.
how much gold? I'm just gonna ask everybody.
Yeah, I've got 200, or I'm sorry, 2,000 gold pieces.
Silver
12,
and copper.
16. I've got 50 platinum, but I'm saving the platinum for the thiefling.
All right. And Todier.
2,197 gold.
Silver
9,
and copper.
6.
Follow us on all major social media, Discord, Twitch, and as always, thank you for joining us. See you tomorrow at 4.